My name is Joe, and I'm here with my wife, Ann.
Hello.
And we are in my tree house. This is we set up as a podcast studio this week, and I thought we'd just have some conversations. And the big conversation for today, for our first real podcast, is about doing hard things. We think that people should do hard things. We love people that do hard things, and we want to be people that do hard things. And so with that, we would just start there. And I think the first conversation we should open up with is our parenting and how we specifically have raised our boys to do hard things. So far, we have 4 boys. They're all completely wild and live on a bunch of property here. We have some great adventures in the backyard, but we also take them mountain climbing around the world. And so it's just kind of our unique side of parenting. I don't think everybody should do this, but it's what we're doing. And thought we'd start with that and how we were training our boys to set big goals. And I'd actually like to hear you describe it. I'm always the one describing our missions. And so this is just a conversation. We're not scripted. Let's hear how my wife describes this.
Yeah, way to put me on the spot. Well, I would say that we bring our kids up in outdoors from a very young age, doing things as family, hiking, climbing. And then when they turn 5, we, set up an initial big goal with them. And for our oldest 3 boys, it's been to climb Pingora in the Wind Rivers of Wyoming. And so that's kind of the initial goal. And then
let's just start with that. So what does it take to climb Pingora?
Well, what is Pingora rated? 5.4, the route that we do?
5 fun, yeah.
5 fun, yeah. So it's not too challenging, but it's an 11-mile hike just to get into the Cirque of the Towers. So we usually do that over 2 days. And it's a backpacking trip. So we break it up in half, and sleep halfway there and then keep going the next day. And then the actual climbing itself takes, a full day. I would say the whole mission, 12 hours, something like that. And we usually go as an entire family. And in years past, we've had 1 or 2 friends with us as well. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And our expectation is that our 5-year-old hikes all the way in with his own little backpack. Yeah. And then he's got to climb the wall completely under his own power. We're not lifting him up. He has to work through the moves. And this is a very difficult thing. This is not, there are no list of 5-year-olds who've done this. We only know of one other parent that has brought their kid of these ages into the Cirque to do Pingora. But it's kind of this mythical mountain in our life. It's one of the first mountains we climbed. And we just started there with our love story, how we kind of fell in love climbing this cool mountain. And honestly, Pingora, like when you're on it, it feels so rad. I mean, it's such a big, massive expanse. And it's easy as far as climbing goes. But if you didn't know what you were doing, you better be careful going to try to climb Pingora.
Yeah, it definitely is like a super fun adventure. Like there's not a ton of risk, but it definitely is an all-day adventure. So it's a good first one.
And then when we're done that, what's important to us, like, when I think of my boys, like, out in the world, like, we really only celebrate our kids. Like, the main areas we celebrate our kids are, like, the big ones, like their birthday. But your birthday, it's good to be celebrated for just being who you are, but you don't really earn it. Whereas when we climb a mountain, especially like when you build it up, like at 5, you're going to climb this big mountain, then you do it, you actually earn something truly extraordinary. And so we celebrate that. And the way we have historically celebrated that is with ice cream. And we usually get an ice cream cone that's about like this big, by continuing to tip the person who's dishing out the ice cream until it's massive. And then we usually all share it. Whatever the kid can't eat, we eat the rest of it, and as a group. And so it's kind of a big way to just celebrate our boys, and then we put a picture on the wall of them doing their mission. And so it starts at 5, and then they continue to build. And that's just how we have decided to do it. I don't think every family should do it exactly like this. But what I do recommend is that, I think it is kind of the role of dad to like come up with a pathway of like, here is the pathway that I'm going to lead my boys to be men. Here are the rites of passages that I'm going to set. And that it starts at Pingora. And what have been some of your favorite kind of big goals that we've done? Why don't you share just a few more of them?
Well, I always do like doing Pingora because it's an adventure that we all go on. Like I guess I wasn't there when Sam climbed it because I had just had Joey. Like he was only like a month old or something. But I was there when Sylvan climbed it. I was there when Joey climbed it. And I'm assuming I'll be there when Blaze climbs it. So anyway, it's sort of I don't know, makes me feel good when I can still get up there and, hang with my boys and, keeps me young. So definitely Pingora is a great one. I don't know that I have done.
You were there on Lost Arrow.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But I didn't do the entirety of it. But I guess my role in other adventures and other missions is like support and like sort of there, like behind the scenes. And I feel like that is where I thrive because, I don't know, my body just can't always do as much as it used to. And so it's kind of a happy medium for me to still be able to be a part of it. But I'm not like smack dab in the middle of it.
Yeah. So another huge rite of passage in our home is El Capitan. El Capitan is the biggest, raddest thing there is in rock climbing. And when Sam climbed it the first time, like Anne was in the valley. She'd meet him in the valley each day. Why don't you share about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would come into the valley every day and go to the El Cap Meadow and talk to him on the walkie-talkie and encourage him. And then when he summited, I had hiked up the backside of El Cap with a group of people. So I was able to like meet him as he summited and topped out. So that was pretty special.
I think there's a lot of women out there that like when it comes to doing something like this with parenting that struggle, with their husbands doing something really hard or something that even is kind of dangerous. I think everybody's asking that question. Well, how do you get your wife to do this? How is your wife in on this? And we haven't had this conversation recently, so I'd love to hear what you would say to an audience about that.
Well, I think first of all, you have to, it's sort of just like who I am, to be very trusting, and I love the outdoors, and I don't have a lot of fear of like heights and, the worst extreme case possible happening. Like I just don't operate that way. And so I love adventures. I love being outside. I love doing things that challenge me. And so, I was doing a lot of this stuff before we had kids, before you and I got married. So I think for me, it's just sort of who I am that I enjoy this. So I think, first of all, like it's just part of who I am that makes it easy for me to accept it and support it. But then I also think too, like having the right people on the adventures and having the right training, like for you, and just being able to trust the team that is in charge of your kiddo, I think is a huge one. Because I mean, obviously this wouldn't even be happening if I didn't feel like I had absolute trust in the team that was working with my kids. So I think that's a combination.
And I think it's good too that because a lot of the people who are listening aren't rock climbers, and so I want you to know that this ascent is done in the safest and easiest way. Mm-hmm. Our kids are literally almost bolted to the wall the whole time, and they undergo years of training, both physical, literal training, and also psychological training in preparation for this. So it's like it's not just like, hey, let's just go climb El Capitan when they're 8. It's like this is a massive process that's done very, very carefully and thoughtfully with the best gear. And it's the kids are actually ascending the ropes. And so they're connected at every turn. And so I just want to say that to the audience here. Not saying it's there's no risk, but we think that the benefits far outweigh the risks that we manage and really kind of limit in the same way that you would like in putting your, buckling your kid into a car is a certain amount of risk that is in life when you do that. That's what we think. We think that we can do this in a way that's safe. And so far it's been totally safe. We haven't had any injuries on any of our missions. But each year, each kid gets one mission. And so far we've actually had 2 kids climb El Capitan at 8. And I will say that is one of the hardest things that there is to do. I mean,
I could never do it. I mean, maybe with many years of training, but I don't know.
It's hard.
Maybe in my 20s, I could have done it.
This is hard for any adult to do. Like, any adult would really struggle at doing this, okay? But for a kid, it's almost impossible. And, and another thing that's important to note, too, like, some people think we force the kid up there. I'll say that would also be totally impossible. Because you could never force a kid into this kind of environment. Like, it just would not work. They would not move. And so it's a big deal that our kids have been able to accomplish these massive, really cool goals. And the big one for Sam this year was that he climbed the Matterhorn in Switzerland. And that's a gnarly, massive mountain. It took us 2 years of preparation for it. But we want to be in this cycle with our kids of working on these goals. And I try to pick goals that are one, they're so hard that you have to work on it a little bit every day, where every week you're marking off things, you're getting stronger, you can show progress toward that specific goal for that specific discipline. Secondly, since we only pick one, we tried to pick truly unbelievable and remarkable summits. And then rule number 3 is Anne's favorite, and rule number 3 is you can't die. And so that's why we're so cautious and careful in our planning and preparation and not going into terrible weather on the Matterhorn or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're very cautious about what we're doing.